Greetings, peace, everybody. Peace, peace, peace. This is Kim, and you're back on Thursday. Today's Thursday with Community Radio. And today, I would like to talk about a few things, actually. I've got a couple of things on my list, but before I get to that, I want to remind everybody listening that if you would like to bring up the topic today, and or anything that you may be, just thinking about, maybe something you read on social media or something you heard on Chief Speaks or anything, just call 347-945-7680, press the number 1, and I'll make sure I'll bring you in. So today's Thursday, and before we get into the topic, of course, I'll go over some more Anu news. And first, I just want to start out with theduluhouse.com. Theduluhouse.com is the school component of Anu Nation, and this is where you would go to sign up for classes, the Anu Spiritual Training Phase 1, any of the classes that I facilitate, as well as we got free spells on there, all types of good information. If you want to schedule a reading, you can go to that website as well. You can go to any of our websites, actually, to schedule a reading. If you want more monthly one-on-one coaching, you can go to osirislife.com, and that is if you want a continuing subscription. It's not like a one-time reading. This is like ongoing support. But if you just want that one reading, for a month, just for that month or whatever, make sure you schedule your reading through theduluhouse.com, Anu Nation, any of our websites. You can go there to sign up for a reading. Also, if you want to catch up with any of our old shows, you can go to enlightenmentandtransformation.com. That's where you can find all of the shows we do up into the current ones. We've got Anu Asafo, Underground Thursday, Foundational Fridays, Chief Speaks, Anu Asafo, and this show. So all of the shows that we've been doing over the past, I think it's been like maybe 4 or 5 years, are there on Enlightenment and Transformation. There's links to them, as well as some blog posts, articles, rituals, information on Orisha, and also that is the same name that we go by on YouTube. So make sure you check out other channels that we have on YouTube are Anu Nation. I think you can look up Chief Yuya as well. He has a page. Several different YouTube pages. I can't remember them all, but for the media component, of course, you can go to enlightenmentandtransformation.com. That's where you'll find all the shows. Also, if you would like to get involved in what we're doing, you can go to anulifeglobal.org and sign up there, and make sure you are specific about what you want to be a part of and what you can offer, so that we can direct you to the right place, okay? Also, if you're a new student and you are a female and you want to have some of that feminine support, community support, you can sign up to be a part of our weekly calls that we have on Mondays. So again, go to A New Life Global, sign up, and make sure you let us know that you want to be a part of that call, or you can reach out to me. My email is seriousbwitch@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, which is seriousbitch.com, SIRIUSBITCH.com. You can find me under that same name on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so you can send me a message through any of those mediums. So today, we were going to try to continue the conversation that we were having on Tuesday, where Brother Anwar called in with a similar situation that a lot of us are faced with in this time, and that is how to work with, I guess you could say, dissolved relationships when there are children involved. Like how do you manage different households? And Chief came in with some great solutions as usual, and I'll continue that talk. And you can find that particular episode. I split it up into 2 because it was a long conversation. The first part was, I titled it Baby Mamas, and that's part 1 of the conversation. Then part 2, we kind of went into polygamous relationships, polygamy, polyandry, and polyamorous relationships. And so you can check both of those out again on Enlightenment and Transformation. But we started to get into the discussion about polygamous relationships or polygynous relationships. And just to clear this up, some people may not know the difference between those, so we can talk about that as well if that's something you'd like to get into. And then earlier today, I was trying to Google like trending topics. So one of the topics that I found, and later I found out this was actually old, but it ties into some of the things that we were talking about. And I read this article about Baltimore gangs coming together to restore peace in Baltimore after the Freddie Gray incident. And it was interesting because it reminded me of a talk that I had with Chief, and it was actually about American Black women and what we were talking about before about men going their own way, or men dating Black men, African men, melanated men, however you want to describe it, going outside of the race to date because they're kind of fed up with Black women. And he was saying that, you know, in the 80s, like we had a good 30-year run of a particular community instilling in Black women that, you know, we don't need Black men are sorry, Black men don't carry their weight, Black men this, Black men that. And so we kind of developed this attitude of being a strong Black woman and being independent. And at the time, we didn't see how that was to our detriment. And so now we're in a time where we have become so independent and egocentric and headstrong and, you know, wanting to lead the household that we have completely alienated ourselves almost, because not only did it create a disruption between men and women, but it also kind of disrupted the relationship between women and sisterhood. So we, you know, over, you know, that 30-year span, like we just didn't realize what was going on. So in relation to the gang trending topic, Chief was discussing with me once, and he said, you know, how long did you think this was going to last? You know, just like the gang situation, you know, that reign of terror, you know, of just random shootings, people shooting at different gang members or whatever, and children being hit by stray bullets, and, you know, the whole crack epidemic and all of this mess that was going on during the 80s. Like, at what point how long did we think that was going to last? You know, so eventually now, like, most of those people that were involved in that are either dead or in prison, like, for life. So it's kind of like the same thing with the whole men going their own way and the situation with American Black women. It's like, you know, how long did we think that whole reign of independent Black woman was going to last before Black men were just like, you know what, I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. We've tried every which way, you know, to the point where most of the men are now very effeminate, or they can't lead, or, you know, they're just completely frustrated. So it's like, you know, we only come to a conclusion where we're like, okay, we got to fix this when we're either, you know, completely dead, or where most of us are dead, or we have just kind of gone into isolation in some type of way where we're just completely alone. And it's like, you know, I was just thinking, like, how and why do we have to get to that point of death before we realize, okay, we got to come together, we got to fix this, we got a problem. Like, we can't see it as it's going on, but, you know, afterwards, when there are no left and there's no one around, then we're like, okay, we got to come together. So it just made me think about just transition and change, and our resistance to change, and our resistance and difficulty that we have just adapting to change, or accepting that there is a problem, that we got to fix it before it gets out of hand. So those are just a couple of things that were on my mind. Like I said, we were discussing one thing on Tuesday that we can definitely continue or we can go into something else. If you have a question or comment about any of the shows we've done, the class material, anything, this is the time to ask. Of course, this is a good time, and the last show of the month on Chief Speaks, where we have the student panel, is another time that you can call in with those questions. But to date, time. So if you'd like to make a comment, raise a question, the number is 347-945-7680. Just press the number 1. And so I see we do have a couple of callers on the line. Please make sure you get your comments and things in early and wait until, close to the end of the show. That would be good. So I'm not just, talking all the time. Again, it's a community show, so I'm encouraging you all to chime in with your comments and your questions. So again, going back to what we were speaking on Tuesday, which was how to deal with dysfunctional relationships. And I also want to recommend that you all pick up Chief's book, Solutions for Dysfunctional Families and Relationships, an excellent book on several different type of relationships that we may find ourselves in these times, and real actual solutions to it, as well as, just a guide on how to pick a mate, how to go about the courting or dating process. There are rituals as well, so it's a really good book. It's a really easy read. I mean, you can get through this in like a day, actually. And make sure you pick that up, as well as 14 Keys and Grasping the Root of Divine Power and Shrine and Altar. So those are some of the titles that we offer right now. And again, you can find those on Amazon, as well as you can find links to those books on Sedulu House and some of our other websites too. So let's see who's on the line. We got a couple of people. They don't have their hands raised at the moment. So let's see here. I'm going to go to a quick commercial to give you all time to call in and get the conversation rolling. I'll be right back. Sedulu House Spiritual Center would like to invite you to join our learning community by encouraging you to sign up for our monthly webinars. Our webinars offer live interactive instruction designed to help empower you in your spiritual evolution and ritual work. The webinars we provide are purposed to help you dive deeper into the concepts and calculations of the Chief Jegna of Anu Nation, Haru Yuya Asan Anu, through the decoding and exploration of sound, symbol, ancient and contemporary texts, and various other tools used to invoke a state of highest awareness. We are able to abandon the constrictions of dead thought to travel to higher states of awareness, which is our rightful designation. To view our list of webinars, go to seduluhouse.com/events. Topics for 2016 include meditation, spiritual cleansing, astral projection, chakras, crystals, water magic, candle magic, the third eye, animal totems, dreams, and sex magic. Remember, go to seduluhouse.com/events to register. Anu Nation is home to the Anu spiritual order founded by Chief Jegna Haru Yuya Asan Anu. Some of the components of Anu Nation are Anu Life Global Ministries, Enlightenment and Transformation, Sedulu House, and Osiris Life Spiritual Services. SeduluHouse.com is the school component of Anu Nation, where spiritual empowerment through education and training is emphasized. One way that is accomplished is through our monthly webinars. Our webinars are packed with foundational information, rituals, and live instruction to empower your spiritual work. At SeduluHouse.com, you can view our diverse list of topics for this year that range from meditation to sex magic. And you can also register for any of the webinars at your convenience, sign up for our introductory Orisha class, schedule a spiritual reading, and sign up for the Anu Spiritual Training course. Enlightenment and Transformation is the media component of Anu Nation. Here, you can view all of our archived shows from over the years to our current segments, They include Chief Speaks, Masterminds Monday, a new Asafo, Thunderground Thursdays, and Foundational Fridays. You can also visit us on our YouTube channels. They are Enlightenment and Transformation, Orisha Yoruba, and Anu Nation. Osiris Life Spiritual Services is for those who are ready to take the necessary actions to bring your life into holistic balance. Here we offer consistent monthly one-on-one coaching, solutions that are tailored just for you, practical hands-on self-development techniques that will accompany your monthly readings, and customized practical strategies designed for you that guarantee positive results. Simply choose the package that best fits your needs. And last but not least, AlphaOmegaStore.com. The Alpha Omega Store is our online botanica where we offer divination tools, herbs and incense, DVDs, books, and other hard-to-find ritual items. You can also get our best-selling foundational book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Other great works from Anu Nation are Shrine and Altar, Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships, and Natural Hair for Young Women. All great books to assist you on your journey. To find out more on how to get involved with Anu Nation, visit our websites and YouTube channels and be sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. All right, welcome back to Community Radio. Again, I'm your host, Kim. And just so you all know, the Alpha Omega Store website can also, we're adding to some things right now. We're trying to, work on that website a little bit more to update it. But you can find those products on Amazon.com. So all the books and ritual supplies are actually, you can order them through Amazon. So if you just type in Alpha Omega Store or Alpha Omega on Amazon, you can be led to the store there. So that's where you can go to find the books. To sign up for the classes again, because I wanted to go answer some of the emails, you can go to seduluhouse.com. We still have some people asking about the classes and how to sign up. All the information that you need is there about, what the class isn't, what's in the class, what you can expect from the class. All of that information is there. We're still getting where people are asking us to call them back and talk to them about the class. And with everything that's going on, we just don't have the time to do that for each person. So any questions that you have about the class, make sure you visit the website. And it's a really good each lesson, involved in each lesson. There are also videos on Anu Nation's YouTube channel that can tell you about what's in the class as well. And it's on Chief Uya's YouTube page. So if you're interested in signing up for any of those classes, make sure you visit seduluhouse.com and the YouTube pages. The information is there. So, and if you have a question, please forward your questions to questions@nation.org, because I see like a lot of people are posting questions just on every page that we have, just in random places. And one, we can't really get to them because those questions are not really where they're supposed to be. So they're just kind of all over the place. So we may not be able to get to all of your questions. So again, make sure you direct your questions to the right place if you want them answered. And also the questions don't go on the Facebook page either. The posts that we put on Facebook are just for information and like discussions about the shows that we post on the site. So, or again, like I said, you can send your questions to questions@Anu Nation, or you can send them to me at SIRIUSB, as in boy, witch.com at Gmail. Okay? I mean, seriousb@gmail.com, excuse me. And so again, today's topic, again, I don't have a specific topic, but we were going to try to continue the conversation that we were having on Tuesday. If you caught those shows, I did split them up into two. So you can check those out on Enlightenment Transformation. We do have, I think this is Brother Anwar. He started this conversation. I'm going to bring him back in. Plus, I had something else I wanted to ask him. Greetings, Anwar.
Greetings. Good
Greetings.
day. Good rising. Sun is beautiful out here in Florida. Yeah, and just wanted to chime in. We had our first conversation yesterday, which is very enlightening. Very
Good.
enlightening.
Tell us about it.
I'm not going to get into too much of the family details, but I will tell you that the questions that was arised on our previous conversation on the site, about the schooling, about responsibilities that we both have to attend to. I did find a negative in it, is that finding that the other father is very. He might not be the type of person that you want in an environment. He might be very destructive. You know what I'm saying? So that right there arose a lot of other questions that we had to speak of on that call. So that, but like I said, what I feel is that we're in a good direction. It seemed like we're both. I think she appreciated the phone call also. That was another thing.
Did
when
she
we got off
listen?
the phone? Yeah, we had a very good discussion. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, good.
While we were having a discussion, the thing about polygamy came in, and the concept of it, the arrangement of it, and in my, I don't think she's ready to be in my house. My house is my whole house is the altar. You understand what I'm saying? So it's I don't see it right now. Maybe if I keep on giving her breadcrumbs and she kind of moves from where the space that she's at, yeah, maybe. But the biggest situations about the kids really got answered within that conversation. It was funny because when I got on the phone, I was thinking about something the chief said about tiptoeing. You tiptoeing around somebody, and I stayed away from doing it. I didn't even have to assume that I was at the point in time in this conversation. It seemed like I was straight up front and upright, giving a well organized and very well thought out conversation with her. And like I said, I think from the end of that, like Chief said, is that she's gonna appreciate that intent. So we'll see how it goes from here, man. It gave out a lot of good energy yesterday, and I went through one of those little spiritual voyages yesterday also. I found out, because I've been really focused on Ori for the past couple weeks, and I've been doing the work, my doors every morning, and I've been doing a lot of things just dealing with that. And I bumped into a friend of mine, good brother. He used to come to my studio with his brother and record, and he's actually getting initiated. He's getting his Ogun. He's getting his crown Ogun.
Okay.
And I was just having a quick conversation about it. This is kind of things that kind of bothers me about some of the houses here in Tampa, is that they don't really teach. The organization of the teachings that come out of the dual house life and transformation and you guys now, what I find a very well organized path. And I was just speaking to him. I was sharing, because I didn't want to get into the point where I was teaching him or telling him something. I was more just sharing the things that I was having, studying with Ori. The basic elements of Ori, where some of the things are located at, and what Ori is all about, or the understanding that I have of Ori right now. And he just when I said the word Ori, he really didn't even understand what it was. The first thing that came out of his mouth was your aura. And that's a part, but it's not the whole complete package or the whole complete thought. And the brother's good. He's a good brother, minus that he does something going on to the topic, how we do bad things in our community. It takes such a long time to recognize that we shouldn't be doing these things in our community. So he's doing one of those things in our community that is very questionable for us. And it just brought me to a realization of what place I'm at right now. and understanding the spirit of things.
Yeah.
And it was once again, it was really enlightening. I gave him the DualHouse.com, and I told him look up a couple of these books. Might help him understand a little bit more, because right now he's just in a place where he's just being told, yeah, you need this, and they're spending a whole bunch of money for things that he's not receiving and not really ready yet to. Okay, my opinion, not ready to be received just yet. And that's one thing about Ogun, and I spoke about Ogun and how Ogun really doesn't play. Ogun doesn't give an F if you are in the way of what he's trying to get done. He is going to cut it down. Machetes flying everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of spoke to him on the things I know about Ogun. And once again, I shared. I don't feel like I'm in a place to teach. I'm just in a place to share the information I have acquired and have a good conversation behind it. And the brother walked away with another outlook. Now, take it. The funny thing is, he has his. From what he was telling me, we bumped in a Publix. I was going to go get a salad for dinner, and he was in there buying fruits, vegetables, coconuts, and all that stuff for the ceremony he's about to go through. He has the whole entire amount. Yeah, he had the whole entire amount of how much the initiation is going to cost in his pocket. Just like he was coming from, he was going to the grocery store to his what do you call it? The godfather or I don't know how to. I forgot. I'm so far away from that those types of thinking. I forgot exactly how to call it. And Padrino. That he's so far. He was from the grocery store going to his Padrino to go give him all these things. So it's just funny that we bumped into that. Yeah. And I've been you know, there's certain times during the day with the Adora, I'll say Ori-san me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like through that time when I feel like I'm kind of getting off the path, then all of a sudden I'll say that and something else will happen. And that's what I was talking about, how the life is a magic ritual, and you go to the little spiritual voyages. They're great. I love going through them, man. I just smile every time I something happens. But just wanted to share that.
What got him on the path to want to go through the initiation process? Has he always been interested, or?
Honestly, I didn't ask him that question, so I can't give an honest answer, but from my understanding, for people in his situation, dealing with I don't even want to say the type, but just dealing with these types of houses, that they literally kind of stalk brothers that are quote unquote with money, even if they're doing good or bad. And once they get them in the house, you know, they're not really trained into understanding how the Odus read and what the meanings of. So they kind of, I personally feel like they kind of put them in a place where they get, if I don't do this, I'm going to jail, or if I don't do this, I'm going to die. You know what I'm saying? So they get into that little hype, and they go into doing things that they still don't have any interpretation. And when it's like my situation. When I got initiated with my warriors, I was told you can't do nothing with these warriors. If you have to do anything with them, you have to go see the Babalao in order to do something. And then,
or even know what they're for. Yeah. Right.
And then down the line, like under my sign, I've been told that I'm not the type of person that can be held down by someone else. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of the type that will, if I'm with you, it's because of my heart, or where I'm from, how I see this person in my heart. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, I'm sorry, I had to pay attention to but yeah, I've gone through I've not gone through, but I've affiliated myself with a lot of different Babalawos here in Tampa, and they've been good people. Like the people I've actually dealt with have actually been good people, and there's certain things that I wasn't accustomed to in their house that they didn't tell me until they told me I can't come get a reading from them anymore. Hold on one,
Okay.
hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Okay. Yeah. While Anwar is getting himself together, I just wanted to kind of comment on that. And actually, Chief did a show on initiation as well. If you'd like to check that out on the Enlightenment and Transformation channel, but that's like a pattern. It seems like here in the diaspora where we have a lot of these elay houses all over the place where people are just going and being initiated and don't have any education or any information about what they're getting themselves into. They're just kind of going through the ceremony, don't really understand the steps of the ceremony or why certain things are being done or being said, don't really have a good grasp on it. And partially, because we're coming from other systems, such as, Christianity or Islam or something like that, we don't really fully understand or have the information we need. And for the most part, the information that you get online about initiations and these African systems are really, there's very few that are actually written by people in the culture. Most of the information that you'll get are actually papers, papers from college students who are writing from an external point. I brought you back in, Anwar. Who are coming from an external source, looking at it from the outside and are just writing about it. They're not actually a part of it. So you're not getting access to information. And so that's a huge problem because, we all come into it thinking that, okay, at first, as soon as we get into it, we're like, okay, I got to get initiated. And we really don't understand what that whole process is about or what it means. And so things like Sedulu House and Chief's program actually takes you through some preliminary stuff that you need to get through first before you can even consider being initiated. And then even in just getting that information, you may even decide that, I don't need to be initiated. Or maybe I don't have to do these things, because most of the problems that we have can be solved just through self-examination and doing some corrective things just on our character and integrity.
Correct.
I'm going to bring in 904 real quick, Anwar. Greetings, Young Community Radio. Peace.
Peace, family, peace. This is Serene.
Peace.
Please, Serene.
I was just listening on and everything. As far as initiations go, Sister Kim and Brother Anwar, I'm kind of sort of confused on that. Well, I got my ancestral pot. I went through a ceremony where I got my ancestral pot born and stuff like that, and everything was good, and I learned a little bit about it, and I was just wondering, like, they was telling me, my Babalawo who did it, he was saying, that I'm gonna have to get my warriors and stuff like that, and I'm just wondering, like, is that stuff like necessary for real, or can you work with the Orisha without all that stuff, or do you have to get it to actually work with them, like getting your lekes or your warriors, or getting your Ogun pot or Ogun chain? Do you need all that stuff, or is it necessary for the culture, or is it just something that I guess with people trying to make a little bit of money, and they say you need this, that, and third in order to work with different orishas or whatnot?
Well, okay, let me see if I can start with from the beginning. most of these systems, first of all, like when you talk about warriors and things like that, sometimes, most of the time, you're talking about Santeria or Lukumi or some other branches of, like offshoots of Orisha or Ifa systems.
Okay.
And so everybody does things differently. And I think that's something that we don't understand either. Like each house does something different. There is no one way to do certain things. And just like I said, he did a show on initiation where he kind of broke this down. When you are coming into a house, first of all, most of these things are based in culture. So something like Santeria, this is based on, this is a Hispanic kind of offshoot of the tradition. So most of the time, a lot of the language and everything that's used is in Spanish, and some of us don't speak Spanish, and you're getting initiated into a culture that's based in that particular tradition. It's like, so you don't have a clue what you're doing. And so some of these terms like warriors and all this other kind of stuff, you have to really kind of understand what system is it coming from, and is this a system for you? And also when you get initiated into a house, first initiation just means to start. So it's almost like, back in church where you raise your hand and say you want to join the church. So it's like you're joining the church or joining the house of whatever particular, whatever system you're coming into. And it is culturally based. And what you're doing is, when you do those things, you are joining a lineage of almost like a family. You become a part of that particular family. And so most people don't know that. So it's like you start to have a relationship with that particular house and that family and their responsibilities within that family. And so sometimes people go and get initiated and they just go and pay, get the service and dip out. And then they don't know what to do next because they're not fully invested, or maybe things haven't been explained to them as they should have, which is why, like she says, like you have to be educated first and then decide, which direction you want to go in. He stresses that more than anything. And so even like Chief's consecrations, I would say, and a lot of people that have been consecrated by him will even say that the consecrations are more detailed and extensive than some people's initiation. And that's just because before you can even get consecrated, there's there's some things that he'll have you to do and to try to get some education, try to understand what's going on, what the whole consecration process is about. And there are certain things that you can have done. Now, you can go to different houses or whatever to get certain things done, like head cleansings and, readings and things like that don't require you to be initiated. But I think it's dangerous or kind of confusing when you start just dipping all around. Let me go to this one to get this, then let me go over here and get this, and let me compare what they said. Well, let me go over here. Well, this one said this and this one said that. And a lot of people do a lot of skipping around. And it's because they don't understand what just happened. And so as a result, like even in Anu Nation and in the Sadhu House, we have a lot of students that have been initiated or have gone through different processes, and they're here because they don't know what they signed up for when they went through the process. So they don't have any information about anything. So I think, as I was saying, once you go through these phases that Chief has you to go through, then you can kind of decide, is this what I need to do, or do I really even need to be initiated? Because like I said, some of the reasons why we go to these houses and try to get readings is because we don't have any direction, or we're lost and we're trying to fix certain things in our life. And most of the time, those can be solved without going through an initiation. And that may be a culture that is completely foreign to you, depending on the tradition that you get initiated into. You may not have, you don't know the language, I used to almost cringe at like people that will go over to the continent and just go anywhere and get initiated. And I'm like, you're spending all this money to travel halfway across the world. It's not like you can jump on the phone and if something happens, you're in a bush somewhere and something happens, you can call and get help. Like, you don't
and I believe. I'm sorry, Sister Kim. I'm sorry. What you were saying?
Oh, I was just saying. You don't even know the people. You don't know. You don't know where you are. You don't. You don't even speak the language. So you don't know what to ask, who to talk to, any of that. And they'll spend so much money to do this, and then come back and feel like they've gotten something. And not having a clue what went on. So I just thought that was kind of Go ahead.
Yeah. And I feel you on that also, man. And I believe, people do that, get initiated or, whatever the case may be, because, some people have a certain agendas, that they want to, pull off or, go through as far as like working with different spirits or whatnot to be recognized by the spirits, and some people, I mean, we're lost, man. Like, for real. We're just lost, and we don't have no way to go. And so when people tell us, okay, our ancestors have been watching over us and they have the answers to us and, to our life purpose and everything, then it's like, okay, now we have to go through these orishas to find out, what it is that we're here for.
Chief always stresses to study Ori first, and that is your head and what you're about, as well as your ancestral line, because you can get a lot of information through your ancestors and just working with Ori. And the key to that is, in the class, we break down the definition of Orisha. And so you have, which means selected head. And so the Orishas are like, they come in second to your Ori. So if you don't have a connection to your Ori, you can't even get to the Orisha. They're directed by your Ori. So to try, some people will say they're working with the Orisha and everything, but really they're not. They think they are, or they may feel something, which is always a bad barometer because your feelings can be off. You know what I mean? And they don't have a relationship with that particular Orisha. And so something like, just like Oshun, for example, when we talk about fresh water, they don't have a relationship with water. Like, how do you have a relationship with water? And that's something you can tell, you can ask a so-called priestess of Oshun or any of the Orishas and ask them a basic question like, what is water? And they can't even tell you because they don't have a relationship with it. So exactly what are they connecting to? It's like, so, how can you connect to this Orisha, and how do you know when you have made that connection? So a lot of us are just, kind of going through rituals and going through different kinds of little, just going through little things or making certain affirmations, thinking that we have made a connection, but we haven't. And you can tell because most people don't know their purpose. They don't know what they're here for. So if you don't even know that, you don't even have a connection to your own head, how can you direct an Orisha to tell you what to do or tell you how to get there? So the best place to start is through your ancestors and is through your own head.
Right. Yeah.
Kim, can I get in? Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with everything you guys said. You guys kind of just affirmed something that I knew, but I never really stated. In my Ita, I was told I'm one of the many that will bring Ifa back to Black people, and that's how it was said. And what I realized with now, take it when I first got my warriors, my guerreros, as they said it.
And that's Santeria, is it not? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Santeria, I think Lukimi more. But I honestly, the funny thing is, I can't even tell you which one it is for sure. You know what I'm saying? I was dealing with the Babalaos, I wasn't dealing with the Santos, the Santeros.
Mm-hmm.
But when I received my warriors, Elegba, which I now know him as that, my warriors actually protected me from a lot of individuals and a lot of people that I went to go get readings with, and to this point, like, it's led me through a lot of people and a lot of experiences to get to this point where I'm here now resonating with the information from Enlightenment Transformation, Sedulo House, and Nation. So, and it's funny that after all the people I've dealt with, all the people I talk to, and especially inside the community here, the Ifa community and the Orisha community here, they still can't break it down like how I received that information from you guys. So it's and you got people that have been Baba House for like 10, 15, 20 years trying to break things down, and they're just not there just yet. And it just went into, last night when I was speaking to him, there's a story, and I don't know the full story. I would love to hear the whole Pataki, but I go by now how Chief broke it down in the book. The story about Orumila's first initiate and second initiate, Akoda and Asheda. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's multiple things about that conversation in the Pataki, and I don't want to say it wrong, so I will just say it with just for the audience, it's the decision, it's the conversation between quality and quantity. Quality is needed, but there's also quantity is needed. There's information, that energy is needed in both directions. Sometimes we need a whole bunch of things. Sometimes we just need what is quality of it. So, but I've heard the Pataki in different ways, and I would rather hear it from Chief one day or from the Sedulo House to hear it accurately. So I'm staying with that process now, and it's only because I had to go through those trials and tribulations with the other people to sit there and say, okay, I can see that this information right here is right. This I know this. I don't believe in this. I know this. Everything that I'm being taught by Ori and but being taught from step one, even down to the personal issue that I'm going through now with my son's mother, that there's steps here. It's nothing happens overnight. None of that surprise bang. Here's the magic. Bam. Abracadabra. Here it goes. You know what I'm saying? None of that. It's hard work, and it's consecutiveness and diligence. And like I said, you guys really just affirmed it, both of you. I think once again, give thanks.
And I wanted to ask also, where do you find the Patakis and where do you find those stories, of the different Orishas and that? Because I've been searching, but I really don't know where. I usually just go on YouTube, and stuff like that. But where can I find that information?
Okay, I'm sorry, you all. My connection dropped for a minute, and I had to call back in through my phone. I do apologize.
Okay.
What was the information you were asking for? Information about the Patak, different stories?
Yes, like the different, stories, the Pataki, about Akeda and, Agomala, Akoda, I'm sorry, and, Asheda. Like, where can you find, where can I find, all this information as far as, like, the different Pataki, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to say it like Chief has said it before. Most of the stories you're going to find in African literature. You can find a lot of information in children's stories. Not even some of the advanced works. You can find them in the advanced works, but as a beginner, I found that, like, going through some of the children's literature and some of a lot of African literature, you can find all of this information, a lot of those stories. Different plays, things like that. There's Amos Tutuola is one author. There's several. Origumwa is another one. There's so many different stories, and the best way to do it, like I said, is to read children's stories. You can find a lot of it in African folk tales. They use these names, and through these stories, it reads a lot. And I tell you, the stories are so good. It reads a lot like, what is it, Grimm fairy tales, if y'all ever heard of that, like the stories, the Grimm stories or whatever. But it's very Harry Potterish because they talk about all of these irumole, or like fairies and dwarfs and gnomes and spirits and, all of these different type beings. They're all illustrated there in those stories, and it gives you a better idea of the culture. It gives you a better sense of the culture. Why certain things are used, the importance of the kola nut, just different things like that you wouldn't get, like I said, if you just go in blindly into an initiation or something, because these things are culturally based. Now, the good thing I can say about what Chief has started about Anu and Anu culture is Chief is initiated into several systems and is a chief in different systems. So he's gone through, Voodoo, Ifad, and still in Ifad, still doing all of these different things, these different African systems. And what he's done is taking some of the things from those systems and adapted it to where we are now, so that it works for us over here. Because some of those herbs and plants and things some of those, the environment is completely different than it is, say, in Nigeria somewhere.
Right.
Our daily life is completely different. So some of those things would not even really make much sense to you or even be functionable here in the States. And so that's a good start to understand those stories. But like I said, the Anu system is based on several. And like I said, Chief has gone through and, started Anu so that it can fit what we're going through now and so that we can understand it from a different perspective. And I think that's so important because, like I said, for the most part, I don't speak Yoruba. I'm learning and picking up things as I'm learning more, going through as I am a student of the Anu order. So I'm learning things, but to be completely absorbed in that culture, like, I can't do that here. I wasn't raised in it. So there are certain cultural norms or situations that I just would not understand completely or fully just because I wasn't raised that way. Something as simple as, when we do our offerings with water. Water means something completely to us here in the States than it does, say, in a remote location in Africa. And that's because think of how far they have to travel, or think of how far they have to go and all the things they have to go through just to go and get fresh water to come back and make the offering. So a water offering means something completely different there than it does here. We just go in the kitchen or go buy a bottle of water and pour the offering. It's not as significant to us as it is there. It has a different type of meaning. And on top of that, even in the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power, when we had one of our retreats, one of the things that we had to go through was like we were starting to break down some of those adoras in the book. And so even something as simple as saying Omi Tutu, Ona Tutu, Ile Tutu, all these things, like, most people don't even know what that means. Mm-hmm. They can't even, like Anwar was saying, they can't even break down to you, what do those words mean and what exactly am I doing? So one of the things we had to do was we had to break down each word. And that is part of phase 1 training. Like when you go through these doors and you're going through these rituals, to know exactly what those words mean. What, Babalu Aye, that's a combination of 3 different words. So what is the essence of Babalu Aye? What is that spirit all about? Yemoja, that's a combination of another, a couple of words or 3 words. So
I made a song with this, but Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like, we have to, those things aren't considered. Like I said, when you're coming, it depends on the culture you're coming from. Something as simple as yemoja is the way you would say it in the Yoruba culture, but if you're in Santeria or Lukumi or something like that, they say yemaya. I've heard people say yemaya, say it so many different ways, and it means something completely different because they don't use the same letters. They don't have this. It doesn't carry the same meaning. So that's what I'm saying. Like these things are very cultural based, and if you don't really understand the culture, you're not going to get anything in the rituals and carrying out rituals and going through all these initiations and stuff. But children's books is a good start. Sure.
One thing I've learned here also is that a lot of the houses over here, the Eles, they rarely teach their godchildren. They only they find that keeping and this is my experience. I personally think this is an opinion, but as I really think that they don't teach the information to their initiates or their godchildren, as they call them, because if they did, they would break chains away from their own house structure, which would break finance and money going into their house. So that is my opinion, and that's what I've seen. I don't want to kind of go say that's for every household in every situation, but from the experience that I've had, and I'm pretty sure my brother I'm speaking of is probably going through something similar to that, maybe, and that's just an assumption. So it could be something like that.
Omar, to be honest with you, man, that's exactly what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done, some of the, like I said, I've got my ancestral pot birth, and everything. I went through that ceremony, and I went through the ceremony of get my elect age, from the Orisha or whatnot. But some of the questions that I have, I can't really get to my godparents like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not, they're not available.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got that problem.
Like, I'm like, kind of stuck. That's why, that's one of the reasons why I came to, our new nation. That's one of the reasons why, it came across my path like that, because it's some of the stuff that, like for instance, what Sister was saying, the Ona Tutu, Omi Tutu, Ile Tutu, Tutu Leroy, I didn't know. Now, the guy who initiated me, my godparents, he told me to say that. He told me to do that at my altar, at my ancestral altar. He just told me to do it and dip my hand in some cool water, and he told me to say those words or whatnot. But I didn't know what I was saying until I got grasping the roots of divine power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And still, it can be broken down even further.
Right. When he gave me my obies, and he told me how to cast my obies, and say, the Atimaran, 3 times. I didn't know what that meant until I read the book. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay.
Well, brother, I would tell you one thing, that you got so much more information than I did. I have received my guerreros and warriors, but I've never had my Aleki ceremony. I've never had any other ceremony but that ceremony and a walkaway that I had to clear myself with. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Like, even the organization of how I was put into it is that I did not, the Alekis that I received have been given to me through like certain Ebos that I had, and it was given to me through that. So it wasn't, not that I found out who my my ancestral spirits were, or I didn't know the names. I'm just now finding the names, and as the days go by, I've found my spiritual mother. I've got, through my own meditation, I found my spiritual mother and spiritual father's name. And just recently, I just found the most badass egg blood that I have, and I've been asking for this name for a while, and it came to me. You know what I'm saying? It just came to me out of the blue. I put him in my head, and boom, he came. And it's funny because I don't have any affirmation or confirmation on it, but I know that these are the names of these entities that walk with me, the Egbe. And believe it or not, even Brother Dietrich, if he didn't tell me about Egbe, he didn't speak about Egbe that day, I would have never known that there's a whole section of our Egun that are called the Egbe. It took me to get that information from Brother Dietrich, go back and start reading and looking for what this is defined as, which is interesting. It's really interesting to me, and I just to add that to it, man, there's some.
And stuff. It could be for the reasons that you said on why people just trying to get money from you. But you also have to look at the spirit in which you come to that particular Ile. A lot of people may just come to take. So they just come and say, I want this. So they give it to you. And you don't build a relationship with that particular house because maybe you travel, across the country to get it, and you can't go back and forth, or you just don't have it in your head that, I'm joining a family. I'm joining something, and I have a responsibility to that particular house. So I have to be active in that particular Ile or in that particular house in order to receive something. Most of the time people just go and get, and that's it. They don't come back. So it could, that's part of it too. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to ask for. You don't go as a student. You just come to get something.
Right. I won't say that was my intention initially. Mine was more opposite. My very good brother from another mother, had went through his ceremonies to become a Babalawo, and I was me and him always bound. Me and him, it's a battle between the tiger and the snake, and me and him have always risen. Me and him have always risen each other out of darkness. Like when I first met him, he was like in some real bad situations. And when I got around him, I was like studying Dr. Malachi Z. York, and I was into a lot of that information at that time. And when me and him got together, it's like he opened his mind up back into where his father, because his father was a well-known Babalawo also out in New York, and I can't get his name right now. I won't say it on radio either. But his father was a Babalawo in New York, and it's in his line, in his lineage, that he gets into the religion. So from that point, he went into the whole initiation into it. It took him a while to get to him becoming a Babalawo. But then, as soon as he got initiated, and inside of that, once he got initiated, he initiated me with my guerreros, and that's the reason why I know my things were done accurately, because he did it with his hands. He built it. I brought a lot of the things that I needed for my pot, my Elegua, and all that stuff to him. I went to Suriname and brought stones back. That's how detailed my Elegua is. So, but Mojuba Eshu, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, the concept is that he went through, when he went into that situation, he went through a going back to go forward, and now he's going forward, and me and him are talking, and I'm sharing the information I'm learning, he's learning, he's been initiated, but I still look at him as my brother. You feel me? So, so in that situation, it was like a family, hierarchy. I can't say that word, but
yeah,
we got you, bro. Hard.
Thank you. Black power. yeah. It from that point, it's like we're building off each other, and he's starting to get back into his sign, his work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a meaning for the whole situation. There was a reason for the situation. Yeah, I was looking to better my life. I wasn't looking in there to receive cash or receive my wife or get this situation going or heal myself. I'm not a violent person, or I'm not even a criminal to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? You know, I will beat the hell out of somebody if they come deal with mess with my family wrong. But I'm not going to go out there and just promote violent behavior. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time is that I wasn't going into the religion with a aspect of receiving something. I was going into the tradition to better my thoughts, my mind, and my work that I have to do here on IA. So I'm still doing. I'm still in the process of doing it. And once again, I'll keep on saying I've only scratched the surface.
And it's an ongoing process. It's a never-ending process. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, and me, I'm kind of the opposite, I should say, of Elmore. Like I do have intentions of coming in because I want to do something. Like I want to learn black magic. I want to learn healing. I want to learn all the magic. I want to learn how to, do those certain things. But I'm not in it to be like, okay, let me learn this and then I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be spiritually rooted into it. You understand what I'm saying? To where I can have like authentic spiritual, power or whatnot. That's not bad, though, is it?
No, it's not at all. Like the title of the book is Grasping the Root of Divine Power,
right,
so that we can all become empowered in whatever our purpose is supposed to be. But when I was speaking of like coming to get something, I'm not necessarily saying, because I don't feel like if you're going there to get money or going there to better yourself, like one reason is better or worse than the other. I'm just saying we're looking to be serviced and not actually looking to build a connection with that house or with that particular family. We don't have that in mind because we don't really understand what initiation is or what that process is. And just like I likened it to joining a church, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, you come and you join the church, but are you active in the church?
Right.
Some people will join a church and just come every Sunday. They don't do anything else. So it's the same thing with an initiation. It just means to start. When you initiate something, you're just starting something. So it's really up to you to service or to become a part of that particular community in some kind of way. Because you can't just, join and just sit back and wait for your babalao or your godparent or whomever to just give to you some money. So sometimes, like I said, that's why we'll look a certain house up on the internet. Oh, they're in California. Okay, let me book my ticket. Let me go get initiated. Boom. Now I'm done. My life is supposed to get better. And it just doesn't work that way. Yeah.
But we are under the misconception that it is, just that simple, So, yeah.
And you know what it is? And, I think that for the most part, we do have somewhat good intentions because we are now starting to look back at those particular systems, that we're culturally attached to, if we're African or whatever it is, we are looking back to those systems now. But it's just that, we just don't really understand the steps of how to go back and do it. We take a very religious-minded attitude towards it, when we get into it. And we're not understanding that it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't happen that way. Western and, East and West are completely different. The way we do things over here is completely different than the way they do it there. So it's more involved. It's more family-oriented. That's why Chief always asks, do you have a family? Do you have a family? Get a family. Because that is the base or the root of many African systems. You know, just the balance between male and female, or the interaction of family. That's what those systems are built on, and how to interact within those families. That's why he'll always say, you know, every man should be the Babalawo of his own homestead, and every woman should be, you know, the priestess, or, you know, the priestess of their household. So it is very much family-based and family-oriented. And so that's the thing you have to keep in mind when you're entertaining the thoughts of initiation and all this other kind of stuff. Is this a family that you want to be connected to? And also, that particular priest or Babalawo or whatever, he may reject you, or may say that they don't want you in their family. They don't have to accept you just because you pay your money. You know, Jesus said many times that he has very few students, actual students. We have thousands of people in the class, but very few are really engaged. Some people just come to understand a little bit more about Orisha. Some people come, you know, everybody comes for a different reason, and sometimes when they get what they want, they're gone. And I mean, if that's it, that's fine too. Maybe, you know, you shouldn't be a part of that community, but it's very much a family-centered structure.
Agreed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna take.
I just learned about chief and everything, and I'm trying to be, or I'm going to be, you know, rather one of those, you know, family-oriented students, you know, like I'm going in full-fledged. I'm just taking my time with it and really trying to learn some stuff, man, and understand, get some, you know, understanding of, you know, different rituals and things like that. So
yeah,
so that,
like I
so
said,
that
I
can
think
teach
a
my family.
I think a good place to start is, like I said, especially with the classes, as well as the stories, the children's stories, African literature, and you have to pick up some of the language. I mean, you really can't get around it. If this is part of what you're going to do, because the words are so important. And even in just reciting those words and reciting those prayers, you know, on a daily basis, just like Anwar says, certain things will open up to you. You don't realize how important that is. Certain things will open up to you. Things will come to you in your dreams. Certain words will start to make more sense. So I say, you know, study it all. Study the language. Study the literature. Listen to the songs. Listen to the music. You know, you have to kind of almost completely get immersed in the culture to really understand what it is you're doing. Yeah.
One thing I will say, too, is that with Patak Keys, you know, I have a book that I bought one time for the Patak Keys, and I used to do, like, before I went to sleep, I would, like scramble the pages, and whatever page I land on, and I'd read the Patak Keys. But eventually, when I started realizing that a lot of the Patak Keys came at certain predicaments in my time, in my life. Mm-hmm. You know, so like even the one I was speaking of, the one Akoda and Asheda, that came just previously this past year, and it took me the whole year just to kind of really get the grip of the whole Patak Keys. And even that, I haven't even really heard the whole exact story. I heard the base, and I was told like Orumila gave birth to two Babalawos from his lineage, and from that it was Akoda and Asheda. Akoda only initiated few, but Asheda initiated many. So, and just by breaking down those words, the Akoda and Asheda, you know what I'm saying? Those if you break down those two words, there's more information inside of it. So I'm still learning it. And I would love to hear the real Patak Keys one day, or read the real one of the another version of it. I guess.
Yeah, those stories have so many different layers as well. So many layers. That's why this is an oral tradition, because usually these stories are told to you through a Babalawo or through someone in the tradition. And they have, like I said, they just like Odu, it has so many different layers and meanings that it can take, a lifetime just to learn one. Like you said, even just breaking down the names, just breaking down Orunmila, like there's so much meaning in just the name and trying to understand what that name means before you can even get to Orunmila gave birth to something or someone or even what does that mean to give birth to something? And Orunmila is not even a person or a human being or whatever. So it's layered in so many different things that it can take you a while to do it, and you have to be under someone's tutelage to do that. And just like Chief says, you have to pick a teacher instead of bouncing around from this person to that person to this person. You have to submit yourself to one teacher at a time to get something. To really be a student and to really understand, you have to settle yourself down and submit to one teacher. And that's really important, because like I said, you don't know what tradition different people are coming from, or even families that they're coming from, or the connections that they, their lineage, or any of those things. You don't know any of that, and no one ever thinks to even ask. So again, like I said, it's an extensive process. Chief did a show on it. I think it is entitled Initiation, where he breaks this down, the whole process, not the whole process of what you go through, but just the idea of initiation and what it means. So Kareem and everybody on the line, I would definitely encourage you to check that show out.
I will.
For everybody that's on the call, again, the number is 347-945-7680. Just press the number 1 and we can bring you in. We're currently just speaking about initiations and the classes and everything, but if you would like to bring up another topic, that's fine too. We have plenty to talk about, plenty of lessons to learn, so nothing's off limits. We can get into whatever you'd like to discuss, okay? So, back to the initiation. Kareem, if you don't mind me asking, I think you already touched on it. I was going to ask, what brought you to, how did you even find Tadulu House, and what brought you there?
That's good, too. And I think, it's basically, my ancestors, because I was brought up in the church, and everything, and I went to a meeting. I meeting. I don't know if y'all familiar with Tariq Nasheed, but I just, met. Oh, okay. But I went to one of his lectures, and I met, a couple of people, and it's just me linking up with those people, and then them putting me in, in the path of, thing, and then I came to. Tadulu House. I was listening, to something on YouTube, and I came to Tadulu House, but I know it was something on YouTube that I was listening to, as far as like dealing with the Orisha, because I always wonder, they try to teach us about, our history, and they try to teach us that we started from slavery, and which I know it's not true, and I always wonder what were my ancestors doing before
that
slavery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we created all these excellent stuff, brought all these civilizations to the world, and just did what we do.
How do we do it?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I was just and
how do we lose power? All right.
Right. How do we come into that? So, and I came across Chief Yuya. He was speaking on different things, and everything he was saying, I was listening to Orisha religion. That's what it was.
Okay.
And he was talking about the different, Orishas, and breaking them down, and everything. And so, it resonated with me. And then he was talking about something. I forgot the subject he was on, but it was like almost every sentence that he was speaking was just hitting me like jab, left hook, like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, dang, like, God, who is this brother right here? So, that's basically how it came to be. And So I'm in the, I'm a part of the class. I'm in my phase 1 right now, and I'm enjoying it. I'm doing my quizzes and my activities and everything, and I'm just learning a whole lot, man, that I never would have learned in Bible study. Telling you.
Yeah.
I never would have got all this information in Bible study and Sunday school. So it's like, I'm thankful and I'm grateful, and just trying to learn, man, just trying to, be who, what my Ori is planned for me to be in this lifetime, to the next lifetime,
Yeah, and also just to add for those people that are listening, like, we don't just cover Orisha information. You're going to do exercises with Kabbalah, Buddhism, Christianity, everything. So she says, like I said, broken down just about all of these systems to give you a greater understanding of just how the spiritual world works, to try to find out who you are and what your purpose is, how to get yourself cleaned up before you even try to attempt to approach these spirits. Because I'm going to tell you, when you finally come into contact with one of them, if you're not prepared, and if you're not, if you don't have someone there with you, like a Babalawo that knows what to do, they can wipe you out. Seriously, I can attest to that. I can testify to that. going through my consecration. When you finally do come into contact with these spirits, it's an amazing experience. But you can have experiences all day, you know what I mean? But you still have got to, after that's over, you got to come home. So what do you do when you get back to the house? So that's what those classes are there for.
I've actually tried to come in contact with a couple of Orishas, but it's like, and Chief, y'all was talking about, that fear, and everything, the fear of the unknown and stuff. So I kind of left it alone a little bit because I wasn't really sure of what I was doing. I didn't want to invoke, or rub, the Orisha the wrong way, or, in my calling or in my plea, help, in a particular situation. So right now, I just deal with my Ori and my Google right now, just because I'm honest, like I really don't know what I'm doing when I'm dealing with those powers like that. So I really just, kind of wait till I'm ready.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people don't. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. You don't know what to do when you come into contact. If you come into contact, that's what I was just saying. He did a whole nother show just on that, on how you think you're coming into contact with a certain energy, and you're really not. You're just going on emotion, and you're just you're just feeling something. Just like in church when you get all emotional and get to shouting and things. Like some people may experience certain things, but some people are just wrapped up in the emotion of it all. So
and they say that's God. Yeah.
Right. So you don't know what you're connecting to or what you're experiencing, just to be honest. And like you said, for the most part, most people are not connecting to these energies. They're not.
But when you do connect to them, sister, like, you will know, right? Like, you will.
Oh, you'll know.
No doubt in your mind, you will know if you are or if you have contacted or connected with, Eshu or, or Oshun.
You will know.
Oh, okay.
You will know. You will know, no doubt about it. You'll know. But again, like I said, that's the importance of having someone there with you, because you're not initiated into certain mysteries of these energies. You won't know, because there, like I said, there's so many levels. Like, most people just connect to the cartoonish aspect of that energy. What they get online or what they read in a book. Oh, Oshun is love. Oh, Ogun is war. And they just kind of take it and run with it. I remember listening to a show on Blog Talk. I can't remember who it was, but they were speaking about the Aj or the witches. And they were likening, it's like they had heard that the witches are connected to the birds. So every time it's like, oh yeah, when I go outside, birds always come to me. Birds always, I always see a lot of birds, so they think they're connected. They're connecting to the Aj just because they see a lot of birds. Not because maybe they dropped a few breadcrumbs all around, or the person that was there before them maybe may have dropped a bunch of bird
like
seed
the birds waiting on somebody else. The birds ain't waiting on you.
So, so it's things like that. Like we get just so wrapped up in the cartoonish aspect of it. Like we really aren't connecting. We're just, the first thing we see, oh, I saw a red truck, that was a goon, and we just kind of just take it and run with it. And that's not necessarily a goon. I think another thing I heard was someone say that Oshun, is related to the sacral chakra or whatever. So if you have a lot of stomach ache, telling you that you're trying to get a message from Oshun or something like that, and it's just like, no, maybe this person has a poor diet. Maybe they're constipated. Maybe they're constipated all the time because they got a poor diet. I think Anwar said that. What did he say, Anwar?
They're stressed out, man.
What did you say? She said, I feel in my spirit. Yeah.
No, that's Michelle. Michelle quoted Chief. She said, I feel it in my gut. And she said, nah, you feel feces.
right. Exactly. So it's little things like that. Like,
no, I was going to say, you said that once these Orisha decide to come in contact with you, that you will know it, right? So
yeah, you'll definitely know.
That's
you might not be conscious, and that's another thing. You might not even be conscious when they come. So again, the importance of having someone there with you that knows how to work with these energies is so important, because you're just not going to know. You know what I mean? If you're not training, you're not you haven't been initiated into certain mysteries, you're just not going to know.
Right. When I met my egg babe, my spiritual mother and father, I was in a black midnight, like a new moon meditation. I was in my room. My room was all black. I couldn't see nothing. And when they appeared to me, I have a certain idea of how our ancestors looked when they first came to the planet. And the doe-eyed gods, solid black. And when they appeared to me in my meditation, I froze. And I really froze. I was like, oh, whoa, who are you guys? You know what I'm saying? But they comforted me and they told me their names. And that was the experience that I needed to. And it's funny, but I keep it in mind. I've never spoken the names to anybody. So it's I think they're personal to me. And if I ever do name it, would have to be under like someone who's chief or somebody that most likely chief. but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It's just I'll use them for myself, but I won't spread those names to anybody. I don't think they're for everything. So.
Yeah, the ancestors work that way too. They will come to you and they will tell you who they are. I've had that experience several times where I didn't know who these people were coming to me in dreams and things like that. But luckily, as I've gone through the training and other things, it's like I'm awake enough to know to engage and to ask, who are you? What do you want? And so then they, of course they would then tell me who they are and what it is I need to do or whatever message it is that they have for me. I was able to receive it and to remember it once I woke up. A lot of us have trouble just remembering dreams. So, they'll come to you in different ways, but again, working with your working with your ancestors, that's something that you can do, without initiations and without, going through all these different steps. And that's the first thing I would recommend everybody start with. I'm going to bring on brother. I think this is Brother Byron. Greetings, Byron. How are you?
Greetings, Sister Kim. Greetings, brothers.
Greetings.
I hope everyone's okay. I will bet everyone's okay. Okay, so it's nice to link in again. I've been listening to the show, but I've been traveling. On the train, so I'm just listening. Yeah, so yeah, but it's a very good discussion. I just like to make a few observations and just hang around whilst I complete my journey home. Yeah, so Brother Anwar, I think if I may have missed a little bit, but when you were giving your update after you spoke to your ex-wife, I think you mentioned something about another man might not be happy about it. I may not have heard it very clearly, but did I hear that correctly, Brother Anwar?
It's not him being happy about it. It's his intellectual process. He's not, and this is just to be out there. I think I'm gonna have to have a talk with him directly because I'm getting only one side of the information.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll probably have to make that. That will be my next conversation I have inside of this topic. But
okay.
Yeah, I got to see where his intellectual mind is and know where he is, because what she's saying is like, he's not reliable. You know what I'm saying? That this guy's not reliable. So
not reliable. Okay.
Yeah, so I gotta see where he is, because I don't want to start signing contracts to put things down on paper with somebody that is not going to be honorable or reliable for what was stated on the paper. You know what I'm getting at?
Okay.
So,
yeah, I understand. So what I would suppose is, because you're dealing with another man, and another man, men think differently. So I would suggest that you write his name in capital letters and you put it under a foot of your Ogun pot and just petition or tell the Ogun what you want him to do in terms of keeping the guy calm. Okay? And that would probably work more effectively than any personal head-to-head, because if alpha men are kept calm, that's one thing, but when they don't know where the source of that tranquility is coming from, or where the source of that energy is keeping them calm from, then they can't really fight against it because they don't know where it's coming from. So rather than you potentially getting into a head-to-head with him, I would suggest that you just do as I've suggested and just put the name on a gun pot, tell him to keep him cool, keep him easy. You don't want no explosion with the brother over anything that you're going to have to step up to. Because I also heard you say that you're not shy of taking a man out if he troubles your family. So we don't want none of that going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's that much of a physical threat. That's not really what I'm saying. It's more just on the intellectual process of it, the thoughts that he has. And yeah, it could lead to it. And if I had to do something with Ogun, I really don't do things like that with my Ogun. The only reason why my Ogun doesn't play. I can ask for small things and it will be a big situation to make a small thing. So I really don't. I know the only time I'll deal with Ogun is when it's something that's directly in my path and I can't get around it. So I will take his advice. If something like that happens, definitely go in there. But just I don't see him to be like that type of threat. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right, no problem.
I think it's more of his
because I'm just not sure, because the issue, your goal is to reclaim your wife and the family there, or to make it how you want it to be. So I'm just really just trying to be all right. Then I'll just caution you in terms of, don't let there to be any male-to-male energies kicking off whilst that might take you off the bigger prize that you're after.
Yeah.
I thought about that through too, like the day of, and I had to really kind of state what my goal really is in the situation. And after the conversation that I had with her, that reclaiming my wife, okay, I don't think that's the main goal here. The main goal is to make sure my son is at its greatest form. And if it has to deal with me reclaiming a wife, then I would have to do it. But I don't think I don't think we're there yet for that. It's just after the conversation.
That's not the key issue. Okay, no problem. The other thing that I wanted to mention was in my counselling and speaking with Chief Yuya in the past, he said something, and it wasn't even because you know, Chief, when he speaks, you've really got to pay attention because he can speak about an issue and then he'll just give you information about something else. But Chief, I think what I gained from that information was that Eshu and Elegba. So Eshu is a if I'm remembering correctly, Eshu is an older energy. Eshu is an older energy. Excuse me a minute. I'm just going to get into my cab. Mm-hmm. So,
okay.
1 second. All right.
Oh, while he's doing that, I have a bit of go ahead.
So my understanding was that Eshu 29 minutes. Yeah, I fell towards it. Yeah. Sorry about this. Yes, my understanding was that Eshu was an older version, if that's not the right word, is version. But an older energy of basically Elegba is the younger version of Eshu, and Elegba, if I heard correctly, Elegba was born in the South Americas. I may be getting this wrong, so if I'm wrong, I hope Chief can come in and just correct me. But my understanding was Eshu was more of a West African deity, and Elegba was more of a South American one. And in fact, ever since he told me that, I have limited my deliberate use of calling my Eshu Elegba. I've deliberately tried to limit that because when I received them, I was not told they were called Elegba, I was told they were called Eshu. So sometimes we slip from Eshu to Elegba just out of habit. But when Chief Yuya gave me that information, I specifically tried to control what I say to Eshu. Yeah,
that goes back to what I was saying about getting the names right and realizing what paradigm you're coming from, because like you said, Eshu comes out of, like you said, the Western Yoruba tradition, and then you have other aspects of Eshu, like I know Elegbara is the correct name, and Elegba, you go from Elegbara, got short Elegba, then you got Legba, then you got Papa Legba, then you have all these other things that are like offshoots of them. So you have to know what tradition or what culture you're tapping into when you say these names, and that's why it's so important that you really study the story and you really understand the meanings of some of these names that we're using.
Yeah, and Eshu even has a Kemetic correlation, and I believe it's Shu. Honestly, I haven't been studying a lot of Kemetic information, but there was a time when that was what I was doing. And from my understanding is that Shu had the similar properties of Eshu, being the gatekeeper and the controller of pathways and the gatekeeper. So, I don't want to get too much detail because I don't have that much information that I pull up out of my head from that time. So,
you can find a lot of correlation to a lot of different energies. But again, like I said, you're tapping into cultures. You're tapping into different cultures of people. So not knowing that, you really got to be specific in what you're doing and what you're studying. To try, instead of just mixing and, saying one thing 1 minute and one thing the next, and you're just dipping in and out of different things. So you really got to study those names.
That was one of my first questions I asked Chief when I first started listening to the show about 2 years ago. was what is the problem with mixing systems? And he did the whole show about it. It was awesome too. You can still see it in all too. So.
What I would also say is when we're in our Arisha, the ones that when I received my Arisha, they've been given a particular name or a particular road. So what I've tried to do as much as possible is try to understand what specific road that Arisha is within that group of Orishas. So I know that, okay, so if I'm needing this is the most effective one. You know, this. So one might have a specific road for A, B, or C. So only Eshu Onibode is a keeper of the crossroads, the keeper of choice, the keeper of good fortune. So we know that. So, and then the other Eshus would have different roads and different names. So I think it's important to try to understand the road of your Eshu, to understand the characteristics of your Eshu. So when you're cultivating your relationship with the Eshu, you know how to approach not the Eshu, but all of the Orisha. But I was speaking about it today, but all of your Orisha. Yeah.
That reminds me, like the advice that you just gave Anwar about his Ogun type or his Ogun, is that there are many different aspects of Ogun. So to just think that one particular Ogun is just all about war. I mean, there are several different aspects of Ogun, and there are different things that each one can do. So I wouldn't jump to conclusions to say, you know, Anwar, that like, you know, you're kind of hesitant to take the advice because you're like, well, I know he's going to go to war, you know, or just have that one aspect of Ogun, because there's so many different roads of that particular energy. Like Brother Byron says, it's important to know what aspect of Ogun you have. I know even when I went through my consecration, I have a particular Ogun, and so my Elekes reflected that. But a lot of times when people see that particular Eleke, they initially think, oh, is that Shango? Or, oh, is that somebody else? And I'm like, no, this is Ogun. They're like, well, those aren't Ogun's colors. And that just goes to show, like, we have just a surface understanding of Orisha. And we don't really get into the full aspect of that particular, you know, like Ogun is almost like the parent, but there are other energies of Ogun that you can tap into as well.
Definitely. You know what? I will say from my experience to this day dealing with my Ogun, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I do agree with what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but from my experiences that I've dealt with Ogun so far, it's like, look, use me cautiously, but you know what I'm saying. So, but I'm not putting no negations into it. And yes, I do agree completely with it. It's so fun, but you know, just my experience.
Brother Anwar, but with regard to that now, so when we know that when we approach our Arisha, we are meant to go there with a positive mindset of willing and activation. So I think what Sister Kim said is very correct. Ogun is still alive today. Okay, we all know that Ogun is still alive today. And so he is often perceived to be a warrior. But if he is just a bloodthirsty warrior with no thinking, then he wouldn't be alive today. So obviously he's strategic. He's obviously strategic as well as powerful. So I think it's important that we don't characterize our Orisha as cartoon characters. Not cartoon, or superheroes or heroines, but also understand that they are more rounded than that. So, Ogun was also a brother. Ogun was also a father. So Ogun was also a lover. So in those aspects, he wasn't letting blood left, right, and center. You know, so there's different phases to Ogun or sides to Ogun. Okay. Well,
Works
I'd
with
actually say that.
herbs, master herbalist, and many other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know,
I just need
it's
to go
funny.
on mute for a moment. Okay.
Okay.
It's funny. It's funny because like just recently I had cleaned the deer skin. When I was cleaning, I was thinking of those things. How I was using the machete to take the excess fat off the thing, and I'm just going through it, and I'm doing it so delicately. I have to use my precision strokes to make sure all the excess flesh comes off the skin, so it don't damage the skin. And I'm using a machete, a black and steel machete, and I'm just the whole time I'm doing it, I'm just thinking it. I'm just going through it, and just working the skin and doing the thing. And that kind of shows you the aspects too. And I agree with everything what you're saying. So it's not that I'm just stating that I use Ogun only for this, but it's just there's some delicacy behind it. Because even if you break it down with like our electronics, you know, our cell phones are very sensitive. We drop them, we run a chance of breaking the thing down, but they're so useful in the same concept, and that's Ogun. So,
that's Ogun technology, and just being and it's like Chief has said, an acidic force, a force that breaks things down as well. So there's so many different aspects. Like I said, that's when, you know, that's another process of just initiation or being initiated to a particular energy. You start to learn all of these other aspects of that particular energy that you necessarily wouldn't get if you're not, you know, taught about the mysteries of that particular energy. So they all are so multifaceted. It's just that, you know, when we read our books or you know, get information online, we just hear about just one thing. Oshun is love, Yemoja is the mother, Ogun is the warrior, Shango is the lover and the chief, and you know, and that's it. And we just kind of run with it. But it's so much more detailed than that, and it's so much more to learn than just those surface attributes of that particular energy. So when we talk about initiations, again, that's something that you do get, you know, initiated into or consecrated into. Certain things will, certain energies will open up information to you, and you'll learn more about that particular energy that you're initiated to or that you're consecrated to. Those things will, you know, your Babalawo or your priest or whatever will help you to try to unlock some more of the mysteries of that particular energy. And some of it you may not be ready for. Some of the information you may not be ready for. It may require more education and more things that you have to do before you can get to that information. So again, it's like you know, just our misunderstanding of the system and how it works and the things that we have to go through to really understand it. Like I said, it's a lifelong process. Mm. Are you still there, Anwar? Okay, I think Anwar. Tareem, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, sister.
Oh, okay. I think Brother Byron had to hit mute just for a minute. He's traveling. So we're coming up. We got about a little less than 10 minutes left of the show. For those of you that are on the call, again, if you'd like to make a comment or if you'd like to chime in, make sure you press 1. And if you're listening from a different source, the number is 347-945-7680. Just call in and let us know you're listening or join the conversation. Okay?
I wanted to talk to you about a situation. I kind of, you know, and this got a little bit to do with, you know, as far as like the reaching or whatnot. I was supposed to be moving into this house, right? And I went to the interview with the landlord and everything. You know, we talked, and the rent was set at a price, right? And so after I went to the interview, and you know, he told me, you know, about everything, what he expected, and yada yada yada. I'm on my way to work. Like 15, 20 minutes later, his secretary calls me and basically told me that the rent is a different price,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like $50 higher, and she's basically trying to act like like the rent wasn't set at the price that I seen it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She basically, trying to, and me, I felt kind of heated because I felt like, they was kind of, playing with my intelligence on that. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so I went to, that's what I was talking about. I was trying to conjure up the Orisha, Shango and shoot first, because he's the gatekeeper, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shango to really, increase my wit and my, intellectual conversation and everything. I don't know if I was doing it the right way, but I was just doing, what I was led to do there.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt some type of way, sister. Like I felt some type of anger, like I wanted something to, happen to them or whatever. Like, is that bad? Like, should I like repent or something? You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we dealing with, white people.
Okay. So are we talking?
I just feel like they're trying to get over on me,
Okay, so are we talking about a $50? You said it was a $50 increase.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't
so
know how you know that, but yeah, that's exactly how much it is. Like a $50 increase.
I thought I heard you say that. Maybe I did. I don't know.
No,
but
because I didn't say the prices or anything, but yeah, it is a $50 increase. And I just felt, I was like, man, we talked in the interview. We talked about, everything as far as like the rent and the grace period and all this. So why are you gonna call me 20 minutes later after I done left and say, well, the rent is not this much, it's this much.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so
it's a few ways you can look at that.
Okay.
There's a few ways you can look at this now. It could be part of their screening process just to kind of test you to see how bad you really want to move into this place. They could be trying, but you have to look at it like this. It's only $50, and this is something that you want. This is something that you say that you want. Sometimes, we're put to a test to see just how bad you really, really want to make certain changes in your life. And if $50 is going to discourage you, then maybe you shouldn't be in that place. Because, we're not talking about $200-300 increase. We're talking about $50.
Right.
So that's not a huge increase. And like I said, they could be doing it to protect, the integrity of the building or whatever, just to see, okay, is this person really interested? Is this person really going to, go for this or whatever? But you can always get things in writing, of course. You can discuss it, like you can say, okay, $50, and then when you go back to talk to them, you can bring that up and maybe get more explanation on it. But I think it's just, like I said, it's not like we're talking $400 increase. We're talking about $50. So I don't think that's like if it's something that you really want, and this is something that you set out to do, and you feel like this is the place you should be. Sometimes we may have to shift our budget around a little bit to allow for certain things. Like if this is a place that's going to be better for you, that's going to be, whatever you imagined it to be. Sometimes maybe we're tested to, like I said, just shift some things around a little bit. $50, less than $2 a day out of the month. So I really wouldn't look at that as like a slight or something malicious. I would say something else if it was like maybe, like I said, more money, like $300-400, and then they say, okay, y'all don't want me in this building. But even still, I would have to look at that like, okay, is this a place that I should move to? maybe this isn't because if it wasn't in my budget or if it was beyond my financial abilities, then and there was like no way for me to come up with this money, then maybe that could have been a sign that maybe I should look somewhere else. But we're just talking about $50.
Okay, yeah. And, I mean, I guess, I just was kind of in my emotions about it because I'm like, oh, why they just try me like that? Like, and I can do it. I just thought that wasn't good business or whatever. Like, you gonna wait till after the meeting and then, tell me that it's $50 more than what we already discussed, So, and maybe, it's just a test. That's what, I keep getting. That's what I keep feeling too. Like it's a, they was just, testing to see, if I really wanted to move into this place. Well, I mean, and I'm gonna do it because it is a good spot for me, I believe. But I
it
just
could be a step
like,
up, yeah.
I felt like they was, really just trying me, like, I don't know, trying to get over or something. I don't know. But
maybe you should just present it like, maybe you could just say, okay, no problem. And then when you go back in to sign your contracts and everything, just, make sure everything's in writing. And just ask, what was the reason for the $50 increase? I mean, you can handle this with a calm head. You can just ask, this was quoted, but because there may be a reason. Maybe the ad that you saw on the internet was old. Right, maybe they've made some building improvements that they need to account for. Maybe that's part of the security deposit or something, or maybe, it could be a number of reasons. It's like I said, the listing could be old. Maybe things have changed. So, I would just ask. You don't necessarily have to just, go off about it. Like I said, we're talking $50. We're not talking big money.
Yeah, you're right. And I was kind of sort of, because we had talked about the rent in the interview, and we had, based it on this set price, and then, I don't know, I guess it's just like, if you're trying to buy something from somebody, you're trying to get something from somebody, and you talk about it over the phone, and then when you meet up with that person, you like, they come at you and say, okay, well, I know we talked about it being this price, but now I want this type. I want this much money for it. You know what I'm saying? She could make a mistake.
She could have made a mistake. Like I said, there could be a number of reasons, why this happened. But I think there are, some simple questions that you can ask, like when you go back, like I said, when you get ready to sign everything or whatever, to, ask what the increase was for, because, online it stated this or whatever. And, it's $50.
I understand, but
because I mean, think about it. Think about where you are compared to where you're trying to go. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to put in a little bit more energy.
Right.
And then, you might be able to do some spiritual work to get that extra $50. Who knows? Things, something else may open up somewhere else that will allow you to have extra resources to make up for that difference.
Can I add
that's the test.
You're right, sister. You're right. I was just kind of in my feelings about it, though.
Yeah. I understand.
I thought they were trying to play me to the left, like, for real.
Yeah.
Like,